Buongiorno, buon popolo. I was fortunate recently to visit London and to have the opportunity to see the exhibition of St. Francis of Assisi at the National Gallery. It comes as no surprise to us at St. Francis Church, but it is interesting that our patron saint continues to have such an impact on Western culture that a major national gallery mounts an exhibition of portraits of St. Francis and works inspired by him. From the earliest known portraits on wood panels and wall frescoes to modern abstract sculptures, Francis's radical teaching on poverty, community and a devotion to Jesus Christ continue to inspire, encourage and challenge artists, as well as people all over the world. When the present Pope chose his papal name, he became the first Pope in over 800 years to choose the name Francis, which was an unambiguous identification with the spiritual traditions which Francis taught and which form the values of our own parish: love, humility and joy. In 2015, Pope Francis published an encyclical entitled Laudato Si, which is the opening line of the Canticle of the Sun, written by Francis himself. We know this as the Canticle of the Creatures, and we sing it in various forms, most usually the hymn, All Creatures of Our God and King. The Pope's letter was an appeal for a more just society, which acts in solidarity with those who are most in need and with a responsible position in regard to the environment. It reminds us that the example of St. Francis is timeless and very timely in our own generation, fulfilling our thirst for spiritual wisdom, a more just and fraternal society, and a renewed covenant with the earth, our common home. This bulletin is a double edition, and looking forward, on the 11th of August is the feast of Clare of Assisi. Clare was a young noblewoman at the time of Francis, and she was inspired by his example of radical poverty and evangelical teaching. She left her comfortable home and devoted herself to the Franciscan way of life and became the first head of the Poor Clares, the first religious order for women. Another example of the radical impact of Franciscan spirituality. As with Francis, a tradition of stories has grown up around Clare of saving sailors from shipwreck, saving and healing a child kidnapped and mauled by a wolf, and the protection of Assisi from a horde of marauding soldiers by displaying the bread and wine of the Blessed Sacrament. Another story is told of how she was on her sickbed and unable to attend Mass, but praying that she might have the strength to attend, an image of the Mass appeared on the wall of the room in which she was lying, and so she was able to witness the service taking place. For this reason, in the 1930s, as the new invention of television spread, Clare became its patron saint. Well, there is a host of books and films about Francis and Clare, and I encourage you to seek out something that might help you to deepen your knowledge and understanding of Franciscan spirituality and learn about the events and the ideas that shaped the life of our patron saint and which continue to inspire us to this day. The emphasis on social justice with a bias to the poor, living in a spirit of community and a right attitude towards and stewardship of nature remain at the heart of what our society both needs and longs for, and in so many ways our worship and life together at St. Francis Church enable us to be ambassadors for these values. And they enable us also to be at the forefront of the Church's mission to transform the world so that it may be more like the kingdom of heaven. In particular, in the next fortnight, can I commend an act of worship, an act of fellowship and an act of service. Taizé worship will be in church on Monday, the 14th of August at 6:30 p.m. The Mothers' Union celebrate Mary Sumner Day on Wednesday, 9th of August at 10 a.m. And Katie Watson's sponsored Shaun the Sheep Trail for St Oswald's Hospice. You will find more details of all three in the paper and electronic bulletins. As Francis would say, pace e bene, may you have peace and all good.